Hello, sleepyheads, and welcome to our story corner. Are you all tucked in and cozy? Good. Tonight we're going on a very special journey. We're flying away to a magical place, a place you might have heard of in your dreams. It's called Neverland. So close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and let's begin. In a little house in London, there lived 3 children named Wendy, John, and Michael. They love stories, especially stories about pirates, fairies, and a boy who could fly. One night, as the moon shone brightly through their nursery window, a visitor appeared. It wasn't just any visitor. It was Peter Pan himself, the boy from all their favorite stories. And with him was a tiny, sparkling light, zipping and zinging around the room like a firefly. It was his fairy friend, Tinker Bell. Peter Pan had come to listen to Wendy's stories, but he had a much bigger idea. "Why just tell stories about adventures?" he whispered. "When you can live them? Come with me to Neverland." Wendy, John, and Michael could hardly believe their ears. But how would they get there? Peter Pan just smiled. He told them to think of their happiest thoughts. John thought of winning a sword fight, Michael thought of his favorite teddy bear, and Wendy thought of flying through the clouds. Then Tinker Bell flew around them, sprinkling them with shimmering pixie dust. It tickled their noses and made them giggle. Suddenly, a strange feeling came over them. Their feet lifted off the floor. First just an inch, then a foot, then they were floating, they were flying. Right there in their own nursery. "Come on," shouted Peter Pan, soaring out the open window. Second star to the right and straight on till morning. One by one, Wendy, John, and Michael followed him out into the cool night air. The city of London looked like a map of twinkling lights far below them. They flew higher and higher past the moon, which seemed to smile down at them. The wind whispered in their ears, carrying them along like dandelion seeds. It wasn't scary at all. It was wonderful. Peter Pan showed them how to swoop and glide, how to do loop-the-loops, and how to race the clouds. After flying for what seemed like a lifetime of happy moments, they saw it. An island floating in a sea of silver moonlight. It was Neverland. As they flew closer, they could see tall green forests, sparkling blue lagoons, and misty mountains. They could see a pirate ship anchored in a cove and a village with colorful teepees. It was everything they had ever imagined and more. Peter Pan led them down towards the forest, to a secret place hidden deep within the trees. It was his home, the Lost Boys' hideout. The entrance was a hollow log, and they had to slide down a long winding tunnel until they landed softly on a pile of leaves. Inside, a group of boys dressed in animal skins cheered their arrival. They were the Lost Boys, and they were so excited to have new friends to share their adventures with. They all gathered around a cozy fire while Wendy told them a bedtime story. Even the Lost Boys, who always boasted about how brave they were, snuggled in close to listen. The fire crackled and popped, sending dancing shadows on the walls of their underground home. It felt safe and warm. Peter Pan played a gentle tune on his pipes, a melody that sounded like wind rustling through leaves and water flowing in a stream. The next day, their adventures truly began. But these weren't loud or scary adventures. They were gentle, playful ones. They explored the forest, discovering flowers that glowed in the dark and streams that giggled when you dipped your toes in. They played hide and seek with the forest animals, who weren't afraid of them at all. A family of bunnies showed them where the sweetest wild strawberries grew. Later, they went to the Mermaid Lagoon. The mermaids, with their long, shimmering hair and colorful tails, rested on the warm rocks, basking in the sun. They didn't speak in words, but in music. They sang beautiful, flowing songs that echoed across the water. Wendy, John, and Michael sat on the shore, dipping their feet in the cool, clear water, and listened to the mermaids' concert. The water sparkled like a million tiny diamonds, and the whole lagoon felt peaceful and calm. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange, pink, and purple, Peter Pan took them to see the fairies. In a quiet meadow filled with bluebells, tiny lights began to appear as twilight fell. It was a fairy village. Tinker Bell introduced them to her friends. The fairies communicated with the sound of tiny bells, and they flew all around the children, their wings leaving trails of sparkling dust in the air. One fairy landed on Michael's shoulder and showed him how a dewdrop on a leaf could hold the reflection of the entire starry sky. It was time to fly again. But this time it was a slow, dreamy flight over Neverland at night. They glided silently over the sleeping forest. They saw the pirate ship, quiet in the bay, its captain fast asleep. They flew over the Indian camp, where the campfires had burned down to glowing embers and everyone was dreaming. The whole island was peaceful, resting under a blanket of stars. Peter Pan led them back towards the nursery window. The flight home was just as magical as the flight to Neverland. The stars seemed to hum a gentle lullaby, and the moon guided their way. They floated back through the window and landed ever so softly on their beds, the last of the pixie dust wearing off. They were still in their pajamas, and it was as if no time had passed at all. Peter Pan and Tinker Bell waved goodbye from the windowsill. "Don't forget," Peter whispered. "Neverland is always here, waiting for you in your dreams." And with a final sparkle from Tinker Bell, they were gone. Wendy, John, and Michael snuggled down under their covers. Their bodies felt heavy and relaxed, ready for sleep. Their minds were full of wonderful images, of flying high above the clouds, of listening to mermaid songs, and of dancing with fairies. They were safe in their beds, but they knew that whenever they closed their eyes, they could return to that magical island. They could fly with Peter Pan, feel the pixie dust, and have the most beautiful adventures. And now it's your turn. Just like Wendy, John, and Michael, you can let your happy thoughts carry you away to your own Neverland. Drift off into a wonderful, peaceful sleep, filled with magical dreams. Sweet dreams.